The only problem with the adventure bike market, if it could be called a problem, is that the BMW GS and the KTM 1190 are kind of the default go-to bike, if you like, for anybody looking to get into the adventure market. While the success of the GS and the 1190 has been justified, it does mean that some other bikes have slipped in a bit under the radar, which is a real shame because actually there are some very, very competent bikes as alternatives out there. When it was first introduced, Yamaha's Super Tenere kind of lacked the credentials to really make it a serious contender to the GS, and by which I mean it didn't have all the electronic suspension and the different engine mapping modes that are pretty much an essential for any bike in this market. In every other respect, the Super Tenere was a great adventure bike. Lusty parallel twin engine, all-day comfort and respectable off-road capability. Now, Yamaha have upped the game with the Super 10 and the new XT1200ZE has come of age and has got all the toys to challenge for victory. Yamaha have stepped up to the plate with electronic suspension adjustment for both dampers and spring rate, on-road and off. The engine has bigger ports and new camshafts that up the power and torque, and there are alterations to the gearbox to smooth out the shifts. There are bodywork modifications, new handlebars and risers offering more adjustment, adjustable screen, bigger and clearer instruments, cruise control, handguards and heated grips. A new seat gives more comfort, and the side stand has been completely redesigned so you can actually use it. In short, the engineers at Yamaha have been taking notice of the competition and listening to customer feedback. But the electronics are the important development. There's three-way traction control adjustment and electronic adjustment for the spring rate and damper control, depending on load and terrain. ABS is present, but it can't be turned off, which is a major omission in this class, when KTM and BMW have sophisticated multiple modes for the ABS to suit the terrain. You could argue about how many riders would notice the omission, but it has to be said that some owners definitely would, and that's always too many. The instruments are easy to read, and the switchgear is chunky and falls readily to hand. Overall, the quality is up to scratch, it looks good, and 99% of the toys are there. But does it all work where it matters? On the bike, the changes to the handlebars and foot pegs immediately make themselves felt, and the riding position feels natural, whether seated or standing. There's so much room in the seating position that it might possibly feel a bit too big for the smaller rider. And certainly the overall height will be a problem for anyone vertically challenged. But you can't please everyone, and Yamaha, to their credit, realise this and have refused to compromise. It's big, and that's all there is to it. The engine is a perler. Initial impressions are that it doesn't feel as strong as BMW's Boxer Twin, but get to know it and it has all the power you need, when you need it. Of course, being a parallel twin, low down torque is never a problem, but it feels so free revving and loose that it's easy to think of it as not being so robust. But anyone who knows Yamaha's engineering knows that this is rubbish. This wonderfully understressed engine will go on forever. Wind protection from the new screen is okay. Not brilliant, but okay. Adjusting the screen for height is ultra fiddly and is definitely an off-the-bike two-handed job, so low marks there. But overall, road manners can't be faulted. We all know the figures relating to how many of these adventure bikes will ever see dirt, but as they are built to handle this type of terrain, we've got to put it through its paces. Now, I'm no expert, but immediately the Yamaha gives the impression of being a little lighter on its feet than the BMW, which can make it seem a bit nervous. However, play around with the suspension settings and tyre pressures and it immediately gets better. Quick tech interlude. While we've got the Yamaha and we've got Dieter from ADA, which is out near Hartbeespoort. Traction control. Now, we all know kind of what it is, but what does it do, really? So, The Yamaha comes with 3 levels, 1, 2 and off. So first of all, Dieter's going to demonstrate off. So no traction control. The only traction control is in his head and his right hand. Take it away. So you saw that the traction control turned completely off. If you twist the throttle all the way, the engine will go to max revs, it'll spin the back wheel, and it'll probably throw you off, unless you've got the skill of a Dieter. Now, we go to 1. 1 is the default setting. That's what the bike sets itself to whenever you turn it on. This is full babysitter mode, full nanny mode. You'll be able to twist the throttle as far as it goes, but the engine won't go to max revs, and it'll just keep the back wheel in line, and no matter how much power is going through to it, it will not spin and it will not throw him off. Okay, that was off, 1, and here we go to 2. Now, 2 is kind of in between off and 1. It's half nanny mode, okay? It's like an unattractive nanny. So he can rev higher and the back wheel will spin more, but it will still kick in and keep him safe if the wheel spin or the traction gets too little. He makes it look easy, doesn't he? Well, obviously, with all that electronics, of course it's easy. The Yamaha does nothing wrong and plenty right. What's more, it does it differently to its rivals, which is refreshing. Will it steal sales from BMW and KTM? Maybe not. But perhaps the Super Tenere will attract a whole new breed of riders to adventure riding, who might not normally have been seen dead on a German or Austrian bike. It's a fact of life that entering into any competitive field, you're going to come up against the absolute best that there is. Now, to keep on referring to the KTM and to the GS when talking about the Yamaha might seem unfair, but you have to, because they are the benchmarks by which everything else is going to be measured. Now, to take on the best, and if not beat them, at least match them, deserves credit in anybody's book. The Yamaha, it's got a lot going for it. It's got some things missing which should be there, but at least they've had a go. And if you're in the market for an adventure bike, you'd be mad not to really give this one a good, hard look before you make your choice.